Hey everybody, how are you? It's only me this week. Alex is off getting her hair done at her friend's house who lives in the Poconos, and she's taking a day or two away from me. And how can you blame her? Hi Bill, how are you? Nice to have you tune in. Feel free to comment. Everybody else say hello. Okay, so that being said, I'm probably gonna get moving right along here. Um, our shout out this week is to our 8 ball doubles qualifiers. I don't remember who they are off the top of my head, but this weekend we ran our first 8 ball doubles qualifier. The way that it works now is for 8 ball doubles and 9 ball Jack and Jill, we are running a couple qualifiers so that way more people get the opportunity to play. Because unfortunately, the size of the tournament in Vegas is not that big because there's not that many tables available, and they are very limited to how many slots they have for APAs. A lot of APAs don't even get a slot for the 8 ball, 9 ball doubles or the Jack and Jill. So we get one, and we have to qualify a million teams because everybody wants to play in it. And so we have a couple qualifying tournaments. So this weekend we have 4 teams qualify. Um, and I think maybe this weekend, coming weekend, we'll have 4 more qualify, and then on February 24th we will have a finals. The nice thing is now is it's true double elimination, and if you lose one in the first round, and in the first you can lose one in the qualifier, and then in the final you can lose one more. So it kind of turns it into a triple elimination. But then I am good at twisting facts. You probably have never noticed. Anyway, hi Todd. Yo, Jar, what's happening? So our upcoming events are the 8 ball doubles preliminary qualifier for at Wilmersdorf, the 9 ball straight to Vegas. Now that one will be a straight to Vegas, and the yellow tier big dog. It's getting to the point now where we have to book the events on top of each other, which I know is not ideal, but it is just how we have to do it. So that way we have an opportunity to get them all in. In our general news, as I talked about with our tournaments, with the qualifiers, which I pretty much explained. So that was the general news. Also, I've had a post up on the Facebook member community, which I was a little bit surprised how overwhelmingly you guys want to keep recycling. Well, this week in recycling, we had a couple of instances that made it kind of bumpy. Um, last week we had one where a team showed up and they had 5 players there, and they could have played all 5 players, um, and made the skill level limit. The team that they were playing that had all 5 players there had requested that they could recycle, and because they wanted to play somebody twice or something like that. And nowhere in the recycle rules does it say that if you have all 5 players there, you are not allowed to recycle. So there was a bit of confusion on that one. It threw the team off was that allowed the recycle, and there was a bit more confusion because the captain came in a little bit later and he agreed to recycle, and then it was just a big confusion. Anyway, the moral of that story is you can ask to recycle. For example, if you have a player and they maybe just got back from having a leg amputated and they need to get a couple of matches in so that way they could play in the playoffs, you can ask the other team if you can recycle that player. It's supposed to be a little bit cooperating between the two teams. So the other issue that came up was one team said, well, I might have to recycle. And then the allowing team took that as they need to recycle. So they planned around that team recycling. And then eventually the 5th player showed up for the team that supposedly asked. and then they wanted to shoot that player, and then the allowing team, who thought that the other team requested to recycle, the other team that had requested to recycle said, no, we didn't really ask, blah, 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 blah. Make sure you know what page you're on before the match starts. It all boils down to communication. So what happened was, now we have two pissed off teams, and that one is probably going to go to a board of governors and let them sort it out. Kathy Trait said you should not be able to recycle if you have 5 shooters. And Bill Irish said it's fine to let them recycle. See? So, Kathy, if you think that if there's 5 shooters there and the team shouldn't be allowed to recycle, then don't let them recycle. It's up to the team. You have to allow the team to recycle. The confusion in that match came from when the captain came in later and agreed to recycle. Somebody before that match should have acted as captain, and it should have been determined before the match started. And that is actually where the confusion came from in both scenarios, where people were not on the same page as with the recycling. Hey Terry, how are you? I'm sorry I didn't get over to talk to you the other night when I was at your match. I was so busy talking to Cliff and Brienne, catching up with them because I haven't seen them for a while. By the time I came over to see you, you left. So I'll catch up with you at the next one. Because now the recycles are going to become a game of strategy. If you use them early, you won't have them for later. That is true. Most people don't really abuse the recycle rule. Our real problem this week was communication. Then again, we have a couple teams that seem to recycle a lot. Just get reliable players. And you will solve that problem. What else is it with recycling? We're going to be, the new bylaws are coming out, and we're going to be cleaning the rules up, I hope. Mike Knutson had initially sent in a suggestion of a rewrite. We need to get that back from him, and just to make it a little bit easier to understand. You may not have noticed, but I am not an English major, and so that's why half the stuff is wonky. But that is what it is. I'm sure you can tell that in the newsletter, which I actually think I do a pretty good job for how much I failed to study English in school because I hated it so much. So I was quite surprised at the amount of people that overwhelmingly wanted to keep recycling. There is quite a few APA leagues that do not allow it at all. And the ones that do not allow it are very strong about their feelings of it. So that's why I put that out there. So apparently that is not going anywhere. We are just going to have to clean it up a little bit and keep talking about it. I'm just checking for messages right now, for comments. Bear with me. Chat. I like when you guys participate with me when I'm by myself. Who thinks I overranked? I'm good with mine too. Let me see. Can we talk about my skill level? Shallon thinks she's overranked. How many of you people think Shallon is overranked? I'm just curious. Just for my own personal information. Hey Bill, how are you? So that's that. We are planning, a couple of us, to do a little live video coming up of some defenses and what looks like defense, and we're talking about a lot of defense lately. Like, I was at a match the other night, and the player felt that, like, if they play too many defenses, their skill level will go up. This is incorrect. If you can think of a defense like this. Like, let's say that you're going to you have 5 balls left on the table. Either you can run all 5 balls out and make the 8 ball, if they're available. Or, let's say you can't make all 5 balls. You're going to make 2 or 3 balls, play a safety, so your opponent does not have a shot. That ends the inning. You mark a defense, and that ends the inning. And then when your opponent fails to make the hit or whatever, you continue another run out. So basically, it took you one turn to get out. You just put a defense in the middle. And that's kind of how defenses work in the system. They kind of like allow you to pause a run out or something like that. Because you may, like, different skill levels have different amount of misses. Um, like a 6 might miss a couple of shots, a 5 might miss a couple more. And it's kind of like that to an extent. But the thing is, when you're playing a defense, it's not a skill shot. It's not this. It's not that. It's just a strategy maneuver to continue your run and to keep your opponent from running out on you. Um, there is. I had some debate with some people about defenses. Defenses are like you play them as you. Some people feel you need them all the time, and some people feel like they think they're a bad thing. At any rate, just make sure that you educate your players. It's maybe your ones, twos, and threes need to your ones, twos, and threes. They just need to sometimes need a little help in identifying them. Challenge says she feels like safety and defense are two different things. Well, you're right, but not according by definition of the APA. I didn't make the definition. I personally think if the score sheet said no intent to pocket a ball would be a whole lot more sense than calling something a defense. Shalon, you are right. A lot of people, there is people that think because the column says defense, it has to be a defensive shot. And that's incorrect. Are the rules for 8-ball doubles listed somewhere? I don't know. I'll make a note to, give me a second. I'm going to get my pen out. And I will make a note to make sure that I publish them on the page this time. And I forgot last time. Publish doubles rules. Okay. Have fun Saturday, even though. Oh, had fun Saturday, even though we shot like poo poo. Well, sometimes that happens. A lot of people shoot like poo poo. That's how you don't win. Out of 8, there was 4 teams that qualified out of like maybe 24, 25. So I would say 20 of them did not shoot up to the standard that they had hoped. That's just the way it is. But I appreciate that you said that, Dennis. We got a lot of good feedback from the doubles, and a lot of people seem to really like it. Probably because I left a little early and Alex runs a better tournament than I do. I know it's a lot quieter when I leave. I'm just going through the comments right now. No new comments at the moment. Hey, Lewis, how are you? Nice to see you. What else we got on the thing? Oh, our rule reminder this week is balls on the floor. Object balls that get knocked off the playing surface will be spotted on the foot spot. The foot spot is taken. The ball will be placed directly behind the foot spot, as close to the foot spot as possible. If the 2 or more balls are knocked on the floor, they are placed in numerical order with the lowest number ball closest to spot it, and the balls are placed frozen. This is one of the reasons that I mentioned this week is some people told me that they didn't realize that the balls are to be placed frozen together. And another interesting fact is it might occur that a player legally pockets a ball while simultaneously knocking some other balls on the floor. In this situation, it is still their turn and the ball is not spotted until their turn ends. If the ball on the floor is one of the shooter's balls and it is spotted when the shooter has pocketed all of the other balls, if it is the 8-ball that is knocked on the floor, the shooter loses the game. So in other words, if you're solids and you pocket a solid and knock one on the floor, then that means you keep going because you legally pocketed a ball, and the one that you knocked on the floor goes on as the very last ball when you get to the 8-ball, which is an interesting fact. And then the 9-ball is balls that get knocked off the playing surface will be immediately spotted on the foot spot. The 9-ball is spotted anytime it is knocked off the table, other than when it is pocketed, anytime it is pocketed and the shooter scratches. So that is our rules, balls on the floor. My thought of the week this week was essence of strategy is choosing what not to do. I think that's really the hardest part is to not go for that tempting bank shot or not go for that tempting really long, super thin, surgical, detailed slice. And just being, hey, wait a minute, there's 3 balls up at this end of the table. If I get my cue ball on the backside of them, my opponent may not be able to hit the other balls, and then I will have a much easier run out. So one time, I don't know if anybody knows Lenny Stauffer. He used to come do cue sales when he was playing for us up in Wilmersdorf. And one time he was sitting up on the stage, and he looks out on the floor at the shooter table, and he goes, he looked out on the floor at the tables, and he made the comment to me. He goes, you really have a lot of great 2s and 3s and low shooters. Goes, but they never know when to stop making balls. The hardest part about defense is knowing when to stop making balls. Some people say, well, you got to think it more likely. Is it a percentage thing? You just got to know that, if it's a really low percentage shot and you can hide that cue ball, that's really the better shot. Even leaving the ball at the other end of the table. If you can get the cue ball, if this is your table, let me get this in the camera. If this paper represents a table and the object ball is up here, you can get the cue ball down along this rail. You are probably coming to the table again, even against a 7-level player. That is a very popular defense for high-level players, is to stick a ball on a rail somewhere, because that shot becomes hard for anybody. Anybody else have anything they want chatted about while I'm on here? I'm not seeing too many comments as of recently. Take a second, double check. Am I missing something? Did anybody not? All right, anyway. We got that. That was the thought of the week. Etiquette. Call your safeties. I don't know why that one's still on there. I actually wrote, get the balls out for your opponent. Now, if you're getting the balls out for your opponent on a diamond and they are racking, that's a little weird. However, on a valley pool table where the balls come out of the side, get them out. If you pocket the balls, just go get the balls out, throw them on the table, and do what you have to do, and get ready to break. That's a good etiquette. And most people do that, and I notice that teams from all around the country tend to do that. It's not just it's not just our area, and that's always cool to see. But I notice that, like, different areas for us, like some divisions, they don't get the balls out for each other, some they do, whatever. And if you're playing on a diamond table, like I said, getting the balls out for your opponent while they're racking might be a little bit of personal space. So Dennis said, either get the balls out or the rack. Yeah, even if you get the rack out, I mean, you don't gotta just throw the rack on the table. That's a gesture of sportsmanship. Scott said, last time I got my balls out, I got arrested. Okay. That's close to the joke I was going to use this week. I better not say it. I had the joke in the thing, and then the dumb joke of the week. I'll tell it to you later, Scott. Yeah, Dennis, I heard there was something with a chair where somebody got a little testy. I don't know. It's been a lot. It was a lot better than the other tournaments. So I'm going to hang out for about another minute or two yet. I'm going to do the birthdays, unless somebody comes up with a subject that we can talk about. I don't really see anything. So our birthdays are Jordan Kirby and Derek Montes. Oh, 2 things that I just thought of. By the way, I'm about a day behind on my birthday calls, so if I call you for Saturday's birthday, I apologize, but I'm going to call you. And also, I have been trying to get out to visit teams a lot. Like, I I go back and forth whether I want to go visit a team for like do a drive by. I prefer to like kind of hang out at a match for like at least a match or two rather than go. Can I help you with anything? Can I help you with anything? Do you have any questions? If you want me to come see you, if you're like, man, we never see that person, just say something. Let me know. I think tonight I'm going to cruise out to the Shippensburg area. That's my plan. And just pop in on a match. But I don't want to pop in on a match if you don't want me there. You know, so some ideas of where to visit would be pretty cool. All right, so I'm not seeing any new topics of discussion come in. So I am going to step off for the week. I think that's about all that I have. And that's it. Thank you for listening. And I will publish. We're going to publish a little bit in advance. We're going to, Blaine Lee and Dave Bensinger and I are going to set up a camera and we're going to do various defensive scenarios and try to just clear the air a little bit on that. Plus, I've been posting a defensive shot video almost every day. So that's it. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week. And don't forget to call us if you have anything you need to talk about. Take care.